Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with Unfading Days, the Vaan intersecting wills Shinryu fight. We have a no synergy team, spicy I know, featuring Vaan, Yang, and Charlotta. Before we get into it, hit that like button in the video, it helps me out quite a bit. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, it helps you out quite a bit because it'll unlock community posts in which I share my thoughts and evaluations of different characters as they come up. I know everyone has their own spin on the should you pull format, the character review format. I like to think this one is a quick, succinct, and hopefully insightful way to get you that information. Anywho, let's get into it. What do we got going on here? We have pretty much, it's a kind of standard no boss turn thingy, because the thing with this fight, and I kind of touched on this in the last video, it has a decent amount of mechanical bits and pieces. You know, it has the force gauge mechanics, the resistances, the health thresholds. It has that renew mechanic where you have to hit it with the elemental weakness, otherwise it heals. It has debuffs, so there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, nearly all of it can be shut down with just the application of Raigen's LDCA, as you saw. With that there, it can't apply debuffs, and it can't deal damage with its force attack, which otherwise would be rather threatening. And then you just kind of no-turn it, and it's not an issue. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. I, as a bit of a challenge for myself, wanted to try to kill this before its force attack went off, just to kind of add some level of tension to the fight to see if we can do that. So we'll be pushing towards that with a slightly unusual Vaan setup. For me, anyway. I've lately been doing, as you've probably seen in my other videos, a setup where we try to get a giant, massive burst phase. But Vaan's damage, while still competitive, is not competitive vis-a-vis, Tifa, Renoa, what have you. Okay, maybe not competitive is the wrong word to use. It still works in Shinryu, it just isn't the most efficient option available. That said, I still enjoy using the character, and he still works, so we're here. It did require a little bit of thinking to pull off here, though. I wanted a bit of extra damage on Yang, so Charlotta's here to help us cap. We have the Leo call there because I found that in the first time it just felt awkward trying to fit Rain's Call somewhere in there, so I was like, you know what, I'm just not even going to bother with Rain's Call. We don't need launches. We're just going to have Leo there to passively provide a bunch of, extra damage from his LDCA. And other than that, we'll be fine. I believe in us. Charlotta raises our HP damage cap, it'll be great. Yang is now holding the Kurasame call, because he just hit 30% on the enemy force time, or force gauge. And that means they're resisting our attacks. So now we got the elemental weakness thanks to Kurasame. And we're going into the Vaan FR. I decided to change the music up a little bit. And man, I love the way that drops right as the animation finishes. That felt good. Shoutouts to Pokemon Black and White. Team Plasma. Plasma! There we go. Anyway, we are in the Vaan Force Time, and this is going to be, as I mentioned, not the usual, set up a big burst phase type Force Time. We're going to be stretching things out, because we're aiming to do 2 Force Times here, since we don't have, Cord providing additional follow-up attacks or something like that. So we used Vaan's burst phase to charge up the FR gauge, and now, the way that works is if you do use his burst phase, that gives you the LD use that you need to keep his buffs his LD buff up long enough to that it doesn't burn out during the fight. This means you can save all 4 of his LD uses for his force time, which is kind of necessary if you want to maximize the damage. Unless you want to do some kind of goofy off-turn kind of thing. I think I did that once, that was weird. But you see here, basically you use, it's skilled, force of will, contempt, force of will, contempt, rinse, repeat until the force time is done. And that should bring us where we need to be, because we got Yang providing that sweet follow-up attack, Charlotta's ensuring we do massive cap damage, thanks to the BT effect, and the raise, the HP cap, the Brave gains, all that junk, because this thing seemed to have a bit more tankiness than I expected. I tried bringing Core instead of Charlotta and found that I just wasn't capping my hits. I guess the auras weren't enough, which, is good, I actually think. I think it's kind of important and helpful for, there we go, Renew failed. It's helpful for the enemy defenses to be high enough that you need to build sufficient strength into your team to actually deal damage to them. That's kind of the point of endgame content. So I feel C90 got to the point where basically every character capped everything they did, and that probably is still the case in most teams. But hopefully we'll see a trend where team building matters as far as like auras and junk, because otherwise, you know, oh, this guy has great auras, it doesn't matter, you know. The only thing that matters is HP cap up, and I want the floor and the ceiling both to be, you know, to be a restriction that you have to build around, I guess is what I'm getting at. Anyway, we are out of the force time now, so we're going to go ahead and be degenerate and spam Charlotta's skills of the whole bunch and see if we can outrace the enemy force gauge. There we go, let's vary things up a little bit. Love that about Charlotta, that she does good damage on her turns while being a really good support. Great character. Of course, as I think I mentioned in my other video as well, Kain with his BT would have been a great pick here. Use that instead of Charlotta, and I think that would have been great for us. I didn't build Kain and don't have an Ultima Sphere, so here we are. It's all good. Different strokes for different folks. Big sword, boom! Hooah. I'm really digging the music for this. I don't know if it... just generally a good song. It gets me amped up, you know? Speaking of good songs, this is another one I've been meaning to pull out. I'd kind of hoped to use this in a different kind of fight, but I figured, you know what, I've been dying to use this song for ages, so we'll use it. Here we are. Shoutouts to those of you who recognize it. Feel free to comment down below if you do. That'll be a fun way to show that you've gotten this far into the video. Congratulations. Anywho. There we go, we are ready. We've gotten the burst effect, we set that up. We're ready to go into the FR number 2. There we go. And not a moment too soon. 90% on the enemy FR charge. Like I said, the goal for this fight, since no turning them with Raijin Call was made this kind of academic, the goal here was to try to kill them before the enemy force time, mostly just as a kind of as a stretch goal, let's call it. I don't want to use the term challenge because I don't want to call what's happening here a challenge per se. That said, it is nice to see the Vaan can still truck along. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know I'm a massive Vaan apologist and a huge fan of the character, and I feel he's been consistently underrated pretty much since his LDBT. That said, it's always weird evaluating characters in this game because, like, yeah, no, objectively strong options exist. You look at Tifa and Rinoa, and they trivialize content in a way that most other characters don't, and so it's annoying though because they raise the paradigm for what a character can do, and the content doesn't rise to meet them, which is good because it means old characters work, but it also kind of sucks because it means that, like, there's this giant gulf in terms of the experience of the fight. You either blow the fight up and it doesn't matter, or you actually engage with the fight with like a weaker team, and that's where the fight design comes from. It feels like, I don't know, synergy characters or whatnot should make the fight easier, but not the way Tifa and Rinoa just kind of invalidate content. That's my opinion, I should say. You know, everyone has their own way to play the game. I'm sure people who are using them are enjoying the heck out of them. I don't think I've seen anyone upset with either of those two characters, but I just don't like the dynamic it creates as far as how fights are designed. And, or something. Does that make sense? I don't know. It has 1% to go, so I'm going to close this thought out with one last AA to keep the turn count down. We call that styling upon him. There we go. Thank you for watching through to the end. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video, which will probably be something involving hope. Pretty cool. So, yeah, stay warm, and adios.